What if I told you that behind every cluttered room is a broken heart that never got to speak? That piles of paper, old clothes, and random objects might be the physical form of grief, abandonment, or emotional betrayal. For many trauma survivors, hoarding isn't about laziness. It's about safety, control, memory, and loss. In this video, we're diving deep into the hidden emotional world of hoarding behavior in survivors of narcissistic abuse and trauma. And by the end, you may realize that what looks like a mess is actually a survival strategy. Hoarding disorder, once considered a subtype of OCD, is now recognized as its own mental health condition. According to the official Mental Health Diagnosis Guide, it's defined by persistent difficulty discarding possessions, regardless of their actual value, excessive acquisition of items, and the presence of clutter that disrupts living spaces and functioning. People with hoarding disorder may keep things they don't need, can't use, and often can't even find. Yet the thought of throwing those items away can bring intense anxiety. Why? Because the attachment isn't logical, it's emotional. This condition affects an estimated 2.5% of the population. And while it may be easy to label it as disorganization, what's really happening is far more complex. For many, it's not about the objects, it's about survival. One of the most consistent findings in hoarding research is the link between hoarding and stressful life events, especially those involving loss or deprivation. According to a study published in the Journal of Affective Disorders, people who experience significant losses before the onset of hoarding, such as losing a loved one, financial hardship, or being deprived of basic needs, develop stronger emotional attachments to their possessions. In contrast, traumatic events that occurred after hoarding had already begun were more likely to trigger fears related to memory. These individuals began saving items not because of emotional value, but out of fear that they would forget something important. In both cases, the clutter became a form of protection. The deeper we look, the clearer it becomes. Possessions aren't just things, they're memory anchors. They're symbols of identity, reminders of love, proof of existence. The study used a tool called the Saving Cognition Inventory to explore how people with hoarding disorders think about their stuff. 4 patterns stood out. Emotional comfort. This item makes me feel safe. Memory reliance. If I keep this, I won't forget. Control. No one can tell me what to do with this. Responsibility. It's my job to protect or repurpose this. For trauma survivors, these beliefs aren't abstract. They are lived experiences. Psychologists often describe this as an attachment injury, an emotional wound formed when early bonds with caregivers are damaged or broken. These injuries create a lifelong sense of mistrust and emotional deprivation. For some survivors, hoarding becomes a way to fill that void. The objects don't just hold space, they hold safety. When you grow up in chaos or experience narcissistic abuse, nothing feels stable. You're gaslit, manipulated, controlled. Often, you're blamed for your own pain. Over time, possessions become predictable, a way to reclaim autonomy. One study also found that when people experienced interpersonal trauma, such as emotional abuse, neglect, or abandonment, they were more likely to develop hoarding behaviors fueled by emotional attachment and suppressed anger. Check the description for more insight into research mentioned in this video. Hoarding is also commonly linked to complex PTSD, especially in survivors of ongoing emotional abuse. C-PTSD develops when trauma is repeated, prolonged, and inescapable. Like in narcissistic households, for those survivors, hoarding isn't messiness, it's control. It's building a wall between themselves and a world that once violated them. One of the most fascinating findings from the research is the role of anger. Survivors of interpersonal trauma often suppress their anger to stay safe. But that rage doesn't disappear, it transforms. Some survivors begin hoarding as a form of quiet rebellion. No one will tell me what to throw away. This is mine, you can't take it. This isn't petty. It's a response to a life where boundaries were constantly violated. The clutter becomes a line in the sand, a voice. However, other research shows that building supportive relationships after the onset of hoarding can help reduce symptom severity. Why? Because human connection offers something that clutter never can, the possibility of being truly seen and understood. After I left my emotionally abusive ex, I couldn't get rid of anything, not even receipts. I felt like if I threw something away, I'd forget who I was. It was like each item held a piece of me that he tried to erase. Survivors often carry inner scripts like, I might need this one day. This item holds a memory. I can't trust anyone else to decide what's important. Each of these phrases reveals more than a fear of forgetting. They show a fear of losing control, of being unprepared, of being erased. This is more common than people think. Survivors aren't holding on to junk, they're holding on to identity, safety, history. In people who started hoarding after trauma, one belief was incredibly common. If I lose this item, I might forget something important. That might be a photo, a letter, a random trinket from a better time. And when your reality has been denied, your memories gaslit, and your experiences minimized, those small things become sacred. Hoarding becomes a way to hold on to memory and to resist erasure. Can you heal? Yes, but not overnight. Healing from hoarding starts with understanding, not judgment. It involves recognizing what the clutter is doing for you, not just what it's doing to you. Therapists who understand hoarding as an attachment injury don't just focus on clearing clutter. They focus on clearing pain, on making survivors feel emotionally safe enough to let go of what once protected them. Healing isn't about emptying shelves. It's about rebuilding trust, one moment at a time. Trauma-informed therapy, including CBT, EMDR, can help. These approaches don't just teach you how to throw things away, they teach you how to feel safe enough to let go. Remember, you're not healing from clutter, you're healing from everything that made you believe you needed it. You are not messy, you are not broken. You're human. You adapted, you survived. You held on to things because life taught you people weren't reliable, but you don't have to carry that weight forever. Healing means finding new ways to feel safe, not through objects, but through connection, compassion, and care. You deserve more than survival. You deserve peace. If this video helped you feel seen, please share your thoughts in the comments and support our mission by subscribing to our channel. Thank you.